All right. Hey, good morning, folks. We're going to continue working on artwork for the Eberron adventure that we're going to be publishing on the DMs Guild. Give me a second here. I'm a little under the weather, so I can't assure the quality of today's stream like I ever have quality on my stream. But give me a second here to figure out if our signal's live here. Yeah, okay, good. It looks like that's coming through okay. I want to drop the volume down without getting rid of the sound, so I have a chance of. Recently had a stream cut out on me because of unstable internet, and it was a good 30 minutes before I realized I wasn't on stream anymore. So that's a testament that Phil's just gonna yammer no matter what's going on. So, I'm just going through the process here of getting things up and running. And one second. I picked up a little bit of bus crud from venturing yesterday, so I'm a little under the weather. I'm certainly a little disorganized right now. If you're new, if you haven't quit on the stream already, you can skip ahead a minute, and I'll be done with me tapping here. But let me try to entertain you here with my origin story. So my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And we're creating an adventure for the Eberron campaign setting using Dungeons and Dragons 2024 rules. It is called Crystals of Mabar. It takes place in the Carnwood of Karrnath on the continent of Khorvaire, fighting undead, demons, necromancers, protecting the citizens of Karrnath from themselves, basically. And let's see, that looks good. That's good. That's good. Okay, looks like we got everything squared away. So it's probably been about a minute. So everyone else that skipped forward is caught up now. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. And here's my Discord channel. If you want to support me on Patreon, God bless you. Here's all 401 episodes in this master playlist that we've been building, all the art assets, the maps, all that stuff. And here's a bunch of books that I've created on the DMs Guild already. They're all free preview. Check them out. And again, our current endeavor, let me make sure everything's looking good. Yeah, our current endeavor, this is the book cover that we created back around episode 40. We're currently creating a horde of undead. This is the natural consequence of your characters not succeeding. A Yugoloth overlord rises and has an army of undead rise to attack the citizens of Khorvaire. So we're going to continue today working on, thank you, Timely Timer, keep me on tap. I think that worked, hold on. Yep, okay, cool, all's good there. Let's see, okay, great, so this is the next undead that we're working on. We're working on them in layers. Get rid of all the extra stuff. Push that out of the way as we continue further away from the front corner closest to the camera. And as you can see, we're moving further and further away as we go. This zombie is when we finished yesterday. Still not happy with that tilt. Give me a little bit of size. That feels better. Yeah, this zombie's got a bunch of fungus growing out of it. If it grapples you, you lose. Well, not only are you restrained, but you also lose your action if you fail your Constitution saving throw. And if you hit it, it's like a minion. It bursts. It has a damage threshold of 10 hit points. So if you deal 10 hit points in one hit, it explodes and fills a 3x3 space of that fungus that causes the rot. That causes the stinking cloud effect, and then the zombie is dead. So if you can pop them at a distance, your team learns to shut them down. But in 5e24, it's more difficult to deal 10 points of damage with a ranged attack unless you're dumping Spellfire into it. You're only we're 7th and 8th level characters, so you've got like 2d6 or 2d8 on your cantrips, and your bow is going to be doing like a d8, like probably +6. So in either case, you've got about a 50-50 chance of popping one of these every time you hit them. And when you do, again, it causes a 3x3 space of this fungus to drop on the ground that anybody that steps into it has to make a Constitution saving throw, DC 14, or lose your action because you're throwing up from the stench of it. So that feels pretty good to me now. I'm going to drop that one out of view because this is the zombie that we're going to be focusing our attention on right now, but the shield is too small, so I need to increase the size of the shield. Let's peel apart the layers here. We'll start here like that, and then that feels true. These words rhyme, so you know it's true. Yeah, that's about the right size. Clean up that edge a little bit for consistency. We had created tokens to include in the adventure all the different types of monsters and stuff, like ghasts and ghouls and zombies and stuff. But honestly, I'm liking some of these zombies so much that I'm going to use them as the default token instead when we finish this piece, which is one of the great advantages of creating our own art. It ends up being a waste of time because some of the zombies, you know, some of the tokens that we made are already made. Man. Excuse me. Yeah, I picked up some bus crud when I was out venturing into the city yesterday, and I am not 100%. So we'll see how we'll see how the session goes. This is my side hustle. This is my my second job. I've got a day job that I fire up. I have to log off at 8 o'clock here in Seattle in the morning after doing artwork like this in the morning, going to the day job. And then normally on a Wednesday, I would have a lunch stream of doing design work. And my current plans is to stick with that. But as you can hear, I'm a little froggy today. So we'll see where that takes us. A lot of the projects that I work on don't get worked on at all unless I'm streaming, because this is my primary project right now, and so all my off-screen downtime is spent working on this. And for those that have been if you're one of the 4 loyal viewers that catches up with me on the regular, you know that I've been hammering away at this for over a year now, and that can get very fatiguing. So the general advice that I have when you're working on a big project is give yourself the bandwidth to be able to work on other things, so that the one thing that's murdering you isn't the only thing that you have to focus on. Give yourself a reprieve of working on something else so that you don't dread working. That's what creates procrastination and burnout, the dread of production. And I've faced that dread a number of times. I've been streaming for, I'm in my 3rd year of streaming now, and I've been producing books on DMsGuild for since 2018, so like 7 years. of creating stuff, and I don't build small books. I build 100-page monsters that redesign how you can run games in 5e or introduce new mechanical concepts. You can see all that stuff in the descriptions down below. They all have free previews. So like the color mana system is massive. The Spelljammer combat and exploration system I developed, that's also a significant project that took a year to build. So my advice is, if you're working on a big project, give yourself space to allow you to be able to back away from it, because sometimes backing away from the pieces is exactly what you need to find the solution to your next steps. Hey, what's up, Minister? Dude, it's been a while. The last time we got to play together was on Beckme on Wally and How to RPG. It's good to see you, my dude. Yeah, if you haven't seen the whole piece, this is we're making zombies here. Let me brag at you here for the full composition so far. I love undead as villains. They're just inexcusably evil. There's absolutely no guilt in destroying them. I love that. We got this mist that's rolling in to help hide the feet, because good comic book artists learn how to hide anatomy as much as illustrate it. But yeah, it's a horde of undead. Demon Yugoloth, big bad in the Plain of Mabar in the Eberron campaign setting, can lead a horde of undead. This is the result of your team failing the adventure. So we have these, we have this this whole back section of the camp of the adventure that we're writing is consequences and next steps to where to take the adventure after this. And I'm using if you haven't seen it, we're using the 16:9 format, since I only work in PDFs. I'll full screen it for you real quick so you can see it on your device. But this is, if I blow it up to the 16:9 space here, it fills it. It's a 12-point font. So like on even my blind eyes on a screen like this can actually read what's going on here. And each column itself, if you turn your device vertically, each column is also a 16:9. So whether you're using your phone with a 12-point font, you could probably read it comfortably if you have decent eyes. I don't, which is where I came up with this idea from doing this. But I have a 30-inch monitor that I work on, and I can see everything fine with that. But in actual meat space, using a tablet, also 16:9 format, this makes it really easy for you to have this as a control panel sort of effect that you can flip through and just look at everything at a glance. So hey, what's going on? Yeah, that's super easy. So you can excellent. That's perfect. So like if we have this up here while you're DMing, right, and you flip over to your roll, this is how I can have my screen set up. Like when I'm actually DMing, this is how I do. I will tilt my screen down to here and have the roll 20 or whatever VTT you use. But I have this block here sitting in this space, the map. This is literally like where the dice are rolled on roll 20. And then I have this column over here that either I typically have stacked up with a Discord, so I can see who's talking when, in case I don't know their character by voice. But in this instance, we can line that up. I can just have that sitting here on the side, and then I can push over to the next screen. So it makes it easy for me to be able to pace along in the adventure where we're at. And then we have these navigation buttons here at the bottom that when this is done, these will be able to flip you from one dungeon to the next, one section to the next. And then of course it's hyperlinked, so all this stuff can be self-referential. So there's a lot of freedom and power in being the writer, the layout artist, the actual artist, the cartographer. The only thing I don't do is the edits to make sure that it sounds smart when we're building the thing. And so once your editing is done, you can just grab the text and start running with it. So it's like any other indie project. It takes for fecking ever to finish what you're doing, but I can completely take ownership and responsibility for anything that's in it. So if I need to change, like if there's good customer feedback, like, hey, this thing is Burke, here's why. Like I can, what happened? There we are. You know, I can shift and change things and don't have to committee over it. And like the color mana system that I have linked down below, the 5 color mana spell point variant rules, like I'm rebuilding those entire books to comply with the 2024 5e mechanics because I'm an MTG junkie. So I love MTG plus D&D. To me, it's just the bee's knees, but it would be a massive project to try to rehire people to rebuild those things. And since I play test all my own stuff as well, I know what works anyway. So yeah, there's advantages and disadvantages to being part of a team. The advantages of being part of a team obviously is faster production and potentially more prolific ideas to help make things work. But throat. I picked up the gunk from the bus yesterday. Let me catch up with you. Oh, really? I work from home every day. I am incredibly blessed that that COVID caused almost my entire the ad agency that I work for. Almost all of us are remote workers now, so I am incredibly blessed to. It's almost 7 o'clock here in Seattle. I get to wake up in the morning and do art first thing for like an hour, hour and a half, however long I can stream, and then go do my day job. And then at lunch, I can log out of job and log in to do whatever I'm working on today. Today I'll be working on the martial power system, a mana system and spell alternate magic system for martial characters. I'll be looking at revising the paladin and ranger for the 2024 mechanics. So I get to do my day job. I get to log out, get to do that thing, do my day job, and then log out. And when I'm at home, home for the day, then I get to log back in and start working on whatever I work on. So I have been absolutely blessed to have that arrangement. And it honestly, I'm paranoid about them taking it away. So it really actually compels me to work harder because I want to prove me being at home is productive so that they never change it. Because I like my day job. I don't have any reason to quit. I sincerely enjoy the work that I do. And so I like the guts that are hanging off of this dude. That feels pretty good. Let's bring in number one. Number one! You tell that turd who's boss. We'll grab some highlights off of this guy so we can start shaping here. But yeah, I stream 10 times per week. And Monday through Friday in the morning like this, I do artwork for whatever my primary project at the moment is. I will lunch stream on like Mondays, Wednesdays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. And then I stream Thursday night and then Saturday morning during my brunch. And I used to stream on Monday, but we're playtesting the martial powers system, which is again it's a spell casting system like Book of the Nine Swords from 3rd edition. It's a spell casting system to give martials the same breadth of options that full casters have, and a similar resource. So if your characters are using like Magic the Gathering style color mana, then all 13 character classes get to use the same power system. So multi-classing gets more smooth. There's a lot of fun ways you can manipulate character balance by playing with alternate mechanics, and those alternate mechanics are my jam. Like that's really where I like to sit. Let's see. Yammering aside, blah. Only child. Yeah, no kidding, right? Jesus. Well, I hope you don't have too much of a commute. That's the line. What we'll do here is we're going to add in different highlights and color for the current so you have the base color like a comic book. You put in your base color, and then you highlight and shadow inside of that inside of those colors. And then I fuse it all into a single layer, bonding the line art to the color. And then you can see I blend it together. So the line art becomes more of an outline or a shadow, a form shadow effect, while the color informs most of the form. I think I'm saying form too much, so I'm going to shut up. Let's grab that liver color there and drop that here into the body like that. There. And as we move further and further away from the camera, I don't have to worry about as much detail. So I always want to do the most detail first, so I set the tempo for the rest of the piece. And like when I do a book, like for example, we have the book cover, for instance, which I always start off with. The book cover is one of the very first things that I do on a project, because if I save the book cover until the end, the book cover is going to be the most detailed piece that I do. And if I hold off on building that until the end, and it becomes the only thing that prevents me from publishing, I'm gonna fucking hate this book cover. It will be my nemesis. But if I make it first, I've committed myself. I made this book cover. I spent this time on it, and it inspires me because this is the book that I'm building for. And it becomes an ongoing branding for the book itself. Like once it publishes and you see it on the DMsGuild, it's like, oh yeah, that's the book that Phil was doing. So it's best to start with the most difficult task first, so that life becomes easier and easier as it becomes heavier and heavier as time drags on. So it's means within means, and ways to trick yourself into getting the work done that needs to get done. And again, that just goes into preventing, like finding these means of preventing burnout for yourself is really important. Sorry, I heard a weird thing. I was thinking like my fire was doing something. I've got a wood fireplace, and so I get to throw logs of fire on it in the morning and heat up my home. Great. It's life is a dream, man, and it's the more I just surrender to the will, it's the more I'm guided to success. Love it. Let's add in some color here. And since we're dealing with the skull over here, we can drop this in like that. Working layers must allow a lot more. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I actually do, Bob. I have. I spent a year learning how to paint like Bob Ross, and here I will show you a very rare instance. I don't mind the tangent, but for a long time I used DeviantArt as my website, and I don't think I subscribe anymore. But if we go to the environments, I literally spent a year. Let's do that. Learning how to make Bob Ross paintings. Here, let me drop into, say, way back here. We should be into Bob Ross stuff about here. No, this is more Eberron stuff. Let's go to the previous page. Not there yet. Almost there. Almost there. Come on. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. Knock it off. I pressed the environment button. Where's my environments? Almost there. Oh, here we go. Okay, now we're starting to get into the Bob Ross stuff. I like this piece in particular. Yeah, so I learned how to do Bob Ross painting watching Bob Ross, and all he does is stipple like Asian block painting, where they dip a block, like they have a block of wood carved into a shape, and they'll dip it into a colored ink, and then they'll stamp it onto the page. That's how Bob works. He stipples different shapes and he smudges. So all he does is stipple and smudge. And once you figure that out, all you have to do is build different types of brushes. to be able to duplicate the different effects. And this is one of the earlier pieces, but yeah, I did like 100 and I think like 120 of these different things. Let's just see some more. Yeah, there's lots of them that I've done, and this one was particularly challenging to build. And since I don't see any color, I didn't know how. I had to use. I actually went on to. I would watch YouTube videos of Bob and then color pick. Like I'm doing in the illustration I'm working right now. I'm going over here, and I'm using my color picker to pick up a color. I do that with like if we look at the references for the zombie art that I picked up. I'll pick out different colors like up here in this cadaver picture. I can grab a little bit of gore here and then drag that down and then start using that over, like, say here, work that in a little bit there into that highlight and work that bit of highlight into there. That's where I'm getting these, like that color there. It would not surprise me if it didn't match up with, it's a little different. Let's see. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, all these different colors I fetched off of the different pictures. I can't find it because I can't find it because I'm colorblind. So all I can go by is gray tone, and then I trust the illustrations that I use, and then I can use the RGB up here in the corner. That's my color vision. I can tell like this is more saturated than this is. Right, because the R is further away than the G and B. That means that the R is more saturated, even though it's very pink, pale, like a very like light pinkish color. I know it's more saturated than this darker red. So when I'm, even though I can't see the color, when I'm working on the different pieces, I can pay attention to how much saturation is going on, depending on like how far away from the camera it is and. Blah, 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 blah. So Bob Ross, and then I have a ton of different types of brushes that I use. Actually, if you jump back like maybe 13 episodes, you'll see me working on a tree, like the bark and the foliage in a tree. And it's all using like different types of brushes that I developed after watching Bob Ross work. I could take the ideas that he has and build unique brushes that I could do my own stippling block prints with and smudge. So anyway, long story short, too late. Thank you for joining my TED Talk. Yeah, I can't. It prevents me from being able to really work in color and print. If I start doing like print PDF stuff, I'll have to work in black and white, which is fine because it's cheaper to do that in like Runehammer and other really reputable like Shadow Dark use black and white art in their books. So there's a lot of strong precedents now in the industry that just black and white you can be respectable and do that. But DMsGuild is all PDFs, so I can get away with doing color on monitor like this. But yeah, the proofs that I would get back from a print piece would be, it would be difficult. Back when I was freelancing and was getting hired to do color work, the art directors always had me send them the layered PDFs. So if they had to do any color correcting, they would want to do it themselves anyway. So like, send me the piece, and when the RGB came through, like, yeah, that looks good, send that to me, and then they could color correct themselves because that's their job. So I had a lot of freedom there. But now that I'm my own art director, I don't have that grace. So I had to adapt. And that's when the DMsGuild started doing things. I'm like, well, I've been playing and running games in D&D since I was 12, like 40 years ago. So I am a hardcore junkie for all of the D&D IPs like Spelljammer, Planescape, Dark Sun. I love those things. So me being able to get access to at least a growing palette of D&D IPs from the 80s and 90s, as that continues to expand, as Hasbro attempts to retain control of IPs and farm the mill, as it were, it just opens up more and more stuff that the childhood, the 12-year-old child in me just geeks in glee, saying, I can make these things now. and like actually have people buy them if they're any good. So let's make something freaking good. And it's been an amazing experience for me. And I know that a lot of people dog on DMsGuild because, you know, you don't own the things, but by that it means like once you publish on the DMsGuild, like that's your publisher. That's where you put that work. But the fun thing about game mechanics in role-playing games is that you can't copyright the mechanics. You can only copyright how you express those mechanics. So me building on the DMsGuild has allowed me to not only cut my teeth on like how can I become a good designer for games, and how can I become a good layout artist and writer, and how can I work well with others. And it's been a massive internship that pays me based on the quality of content that I produce. And it's been an amazing experience for me to be able to build these things. So once I'm actually finally finished geeking out and fulfilling all my childhood dreams of being able to build this content, once that's all done, I can then start building my own stuff as Kickstarters and stuff. And maybe by then I'll have a large enough audience and people that believe in the work that I do that they'll want to back me on it. So there's no reason for me to rush at all. Just do what feels right, because that's what I'm being guided to do. So it's been pretty amazing. And you know what? Honestly, I don't feel like I have to add a lot more detail. I'm feeling like I just want to bond all this together. So I'm going to just start collapsing frames together. I might be rushing it, but it's what my heart tells me to do. So it's what I got to do. So now I bond it all into the same layer, and I can start picking at the details a little bit here and blend the art together. And once I blend those in, then I'll be able to add in another layer on top of things to see where the gaps are at and where I need to improve form. Like I'm not liking this rib cage so much right now. So what I can do is I can add on an extra layer of gore down here and fill that in. Pardon the pun. Like flesh that out. Again, pardoning all puns. There. And then I can come back over here and I can grab the rib color and put another layer in on top of that. We'll grab the dark of it here first, and then the lighter color we can put in over that. Like that. And then we can go back to this layer and I can erase away at that. There. And then merge that back down again. And then we just continue on. A lot of control. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, my God. Hey, Foxtrot. It's good to see you, my dude. Thanks, then. Just blend that all down into there. And we have over here, we have the like texture and grit that we have on this shield here. So as I work on the shield here, I'll be able to rough that up similarly. And once I have the most detailed piece over there completed, again, it becomes a reference point for me to be able to deal, because they're all basically the same, just different, right? Same, but different. And I want to use, this is a cloud brush that I'm using here. I'll show you what it looks like. So this is a cloud brush. There, clean edge, Kearney. There. And here's the other smudge brush that I use here. So this cloud brush, you can see it has these little vents inside of them, and it has these fuzzy edges. So when I'm using that brush, here's that same brush again. When I use that brush, see, it's got this, like we were talking about Bob Ross a few minutes ago, right? So you can see how I can do little circles like Bob does, right? I literally use all the techniques that Bob uses, but I do it digitally. And I can create these neat little fog effects that makes just doing clouds so easy. And you can, I think you can see the the cursor in the shape of the brush, how I can spin it, right? You can see it more easily with this one, how it can spin. The art pen that I have for the tablet that I use, it has a transponder. There's a radio transponder here at the tip. There's 2 transponders here at the bottom. So as I rotate, I've got 3 dimensions of space that are bound. The tablet, the way that these Wacom tablets work is when you turn them on, they send out a radio signal. And the radio transponders inside of the pen reflect the radar signal off to a 1000 dpi, dots per inch, a 1,000th of an inch accuracy. That's the wavelength that we're working with radio signal. So it doesn't poison me to have it pass through me, but it picks up the 3-dimensional position of the pen. So it knows where the orientation is, and it has a range of about this far off of the board. So it can tell where the top and the bottom of the pen are at relative to each other. So when I'm using my brush, this brush isn't hyperactive, but let me see. Yeah, I don't have a tilt brush, but some of my tilt brushes recognize the 3D axis so that it become thinner and wider depending on how far I skew the pen over with each other, like it gets thinner or fatter. And then, so this is the cloud brush that I use, and I developed this. It took about a month for me to develop this brush by studying how Bob was maneuvering his pen around. But I can make really easy cloud effects using this. It's really fast. It's fast as Bob can do it. And then this other brush that we use, this guitar pick that I made, it has a sharp edge that can plow through and push ink easily, and then the back edge of it is feathered so I can smudge out and blur easily. But it doesn't have the same sort of, like if I try to blur with it, it works okay, but it doesn't have the same fluffiness that I get off of these brushes. So you can a lot of digital artists get hung up on like, what brushes are you using, because they don't have the technique that they need to know how to I would say like a beginning artist has the technical capabilities of like driving a moped, right? It's a pedal thing. It has some punch, you can drive a little fast with it, but it's just a moped. You don't expect a lot from it. And once you get like really advanced and to start actually like building these things, that's like more like indie racing, where the machine that you're using and where you can pull efficiencies out of its performance. And when you don't have as much skill, you literally don't need super complicated tools, because you're still learning how to shift gears. Like, you're not ready for it yet. It's like a lot of artists will get hung up on like, what kind of brushes are you using? And those don't really matter until you're so good that you understand how to use them. And by the time you get that good, you're making your own brushes, because my brushes came from the style that I was developing specifically to achieve the goals that I needed. And if I didn't have a level of mastery over the tools in the first place to be able to do that, I would not have been able to parse out how exactly how is Bob building things. So it's like, that's the difference between like 500 hours and 15,000 hours of practice. So, oh yeah, you're right on, man. I'll see you when you're around. Hey, Francois. No. I just use Photoshop. I don't know what Mango Studio is. Let's push that down like that. I've never heard of Mango Studio. It may have been a little early for me to bond these together, but it's what I wanted to do, so I did it. Let's scratch these lines into the body to make some more texture here. What time is it? 7:20. Yeah, we're doing great. Yeah, we're doing great. I picked up some ick from the bus venturing downtown yesterday, but it doesn't seem to be getting in the way. I've got a bit of a sniffle that's being held off by some pills right now, and we'll see how long that holds. But I was concerned. I was concerned about my ability to speak, but it appears that rant that I just went on is demonstrating that I'm going to be okay. So I anticipate being back online today, probably like around. Probably around normal time, like around 1:30 Seattle time, to work on Rangers and Paladins later on today. And then I'll be back on tomorrow like usual to continue working on this piece. And there, let's do like that. There. Yeah, I like how this guy's looking. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Just have faith. Faith in the process, faith in myself, faith in my place in the universe. Keep the edges clean. Scratch that in that position there. Let's grab some of that highlight there so we can separate the bones from each other. There we go. A fit of silence. Clip Studio. Oh, got it. I am aware of Clip Studio. I think I've actually purchased it, and I didn't like how the layers worked. So if it doesn't generally the way that I work is that, like, if it's not immediately resonating with me, then I will not put in the time to study it, despite of, like, you know, like I am not. How to say this? I'm not an enthusiast of AI at all, but I also recognize it's not going to go anywhere. AI doesn't threaten me individually as an artist. I don't do art for a living. I do art to make books, and I sell my books. And part of me selling the books is making the books. I'm like one of those stupid indie purists that wants to build the, you know, obviously I'm here. I build the book. I want to both make the art of, like, actually making the book as part of the art of the book itself, and the concepts of the book are what comes first, and then it just happens that I'm a good enough artist to be able to do all my own art. So the big problem here, let me rant about AI for a second in case you haven't heard an AI rant for a million times from an artist. But my only complaint with AI is that when you use AI to produce things, you're surrendering control of what it is that you're going to depict, because AI doesn't have the ability to do something specific. It can take something. It can take a random idea that the AI dreams up and add detail to that idea, whether it's a good idea or not. It will detail, like, it's what was the term? AI is a bunch of detail about nothing specific. So, like, it doesn't distinguish between important details and unimportant details. It doesn't know about camera focusing. It doesn't know about directing the audience's eye to a specific part of the piece. AI can't guide your eye to tell a story, like to rotate your eye around a piece to pull you in a direction. All it can do is take a prompt and dump as much detail as you program it to put into, and it adds that much detail to everything indiscriminately. So the hyper real saturation that it has is even non-specific. It just uses atmospheric distortion, kind of, to things that are in a distance. Like, it's learning to environmental blur, which is a step, but it needs for AI art to really be good. It needs to start understanding the psychology that goes into like where can you direct a person's eye, where can you create that focus, and where can you inject feeling, and it's incapable of doing that. And the prompts don't exist yet to teach it to do that. That's something that's going to take general intelligence of machines actually understanding emotions before they can really do what art does, which is compel people. The problem with AI art is that it doesn't compel anyone. It just looks polished. And so a lot of non-artists that get into AI art as a shortcut in their marketing or their book production, they're adding a lot of they're polishing their turd is basically what they're doing, because they don't know any better about like what makes a piece fun, what makes it good. They just know there's detail and that it's putting color on a page, and they can get money off of it. So I can be a frou-frou snobby artist doing what I do and learning from the emotions that I have in my pieces and try to share those with people. And that's going to make me feel safe and secure about the work that I do, because I know what I'm trying to do with my art. And when you surrender control to AI, you literally don't know. Like there used to be conversations that cropped up, but you don't see them very much anymore, of people that were using AI art as basically prompts for creating things. Hey, I generated a bunch of this character art using AI. Now I'm going to make like characters or monster templates or something inspired by the random shit that the AI spat out at me. And that's for the large part in Word, the community says that they hate that. But at the same time, if you make a product on DMsGuild using nothing but AI art or text, like letting AI produce the entire thing, it has just as much of a chance gaining like a copper gold, like selling 50 copies in one day, as pretty much anything else that's made by hand. So the consumer really does not know. And if the consumer says that they don't like AI, they're not smart enough or educated enough to be able to distinguish between AI and human made. So at a marketing and business level, it really doesn't matter if you use AI or not. Only those that are training themselves to pick it out because they want to learn how to pick it out can pick it out and harp on it. No one else literally does not. No one else cares. The general consumer, the default 100 IQ common citizen that large businesses cater to for the broadest reach and widest audience, they literally can't tell the difference. So you can't get angry about AI being present. You can just be discerning about what you choose. But the bulk of audience is never going to care. They're never going to know the difference, and all they want is something cheap and easy. And what AI provides is a lot of cheap and a lot of easy. So you have to know where you're at and embrace. And if you think you have more integrity because you don't use AI, then that's your jam. I don't use AI because I spent thousands of hours to be able to literally do what I'm doing right now, which is be able to talk about stuff while I'm painting and not have to think about the paint while I'm doing it. So that's my AI rant. I think I started someplace. I think I got the points across, but I kind of lost. And I lost what the original energy was there. But yeah, I'll stand behind everything I just said. Sure. I get lost sometimes in my own conversations. Most of the time it's because I'm not really steering the ship when I'm doing this. I kind of let go of the reins and just let the intuition guide me to wherever it wants to go, and I don't know where it's going. Hey, what's up? Well, yeah, the style of the style of Japanese art. It's a style, and there's billions of examples to be able to pull from, so it can pull those things together pretty easily. Absolutely. You've never seen any people when you get lost. Well said, Fox. Hey, Ked. I don't have ADD except apparently. Same here. That's the whole thing about good to see you, Ked. My whole shtick, right? If I were to have a shtick, the shtick is that they have this term called autonomic art, right? Where your hands are like, what was it? What was it? The yellow pages let your fingers do the walking. After 15,000 hours of production, like I'm not photorealistic, and obviously my color still needs a lot of work. But I would say the 15,000 hours that I've invested in becoming a good artist was specifically spent on learning how to trust my body would know what to do, so that I don't have to think. Like the less I have to think while I'm producing, the better off it's going to be. Because like I've painted a lot of skeletons in my day. I've done a lot of undead art to the point where I really don't have to think about it. The machine, which is the meat suit I wear. My new Edgar suit is particularly good at painting because I trained it to do that, and I didn't, it started in high school in study hall when I was doing like duplicating comic book art, or like when I was first getting into D&D, like making really shitty characters and maps and stuff. But as long as we were quiet, we were allowed to talk. Our study hall didn't have to be silenced. We did a lot of collaboration stuff in our school, so they would encourage us to interact with each other in this space. As long as you're getting your work done and you're not disturbing the people around you, you be you. So there would be different tables, like 8x10 table, or like 4x10 tables, where you could put like up to 10 kids at a table. And they would group together depending on what they were doing. Math kids would group over on the math table. Science kids, like biology, would group on biology. Art kids would group on art. And so like there'd be like these little cliques depending on what they were working on. We would group together. And then you just have like little individual chairs if you just wanted to stay to yourself. But there was the opportunity to collaborate with each other actively during study hall. So we would group together on these tables. Like I would be talking and BSing with people about like Shadowrun or Gamma World or Robotech or whatever the topic of conversation was at the time, because role-playing games were starting to grow in the 90s, and so I quickly learned that like if I got embroiled in conversation, I couldn't paint, like I couldn't draw if I got too trapped into what a conversation was going. So I trained myself to be able to draw while holding a conversation at the same time. And none of us thought it was rude, because half the time the kids that were sitting at the table wanted to learn how to draw and they didn't know how. So they would just hang out at the table with other us kids that were figuring it out, and we'd all just kind of fucking figure it out together. God, it was so... my school was fucking cool, man. It was a cool school. This was Lafayette High School in St. Louis, Missouri. And I am so thankful and blessed to have been there, because like everything, despite the tortured existence I had as a D&D nerd, there were these reprieves and these highlights in my days. Like this is a study hall day. I get to go hang out in class and just BS with other artists that I admire that are in my class. So it was cool. It was really, really cool. There's another rant. I don't remember how I got there. Oh yeah, autonomic control. Being able, the training that I had was training myself to. Apparently, it was training myself to be able to stream effectively, to be able to rant like this while I'm doing art. So you can't see the big picture. You can't see it while you're in it. You can only see what blessings were given to you on the other side of it, when you come out of the terror of what your life might have been. And see how everything that was happening was there to help fuel you to become who you become. So life is pretty cool. Life is pretty cool. These little barbs that I'm putting into it. These are the crystals of Mabar. It's a known phenomenon in the Eberron campaign setting that if you go to Mabar, there's these crystals that if you find a big one, it's like a mana stone where it holds magical power. But what's happening inside of this adventure is the necromancers found a ritual and an artifact that can create a manifest zone to Mabar strong enough that it terraforms the environment. So the soil gets necrotized, and becomes lifeless soil, or rather not lifeless soil, it becomes undead soil, that if you bury stuff in it, it raises as undead, and all the soil in the ground becomes like coffee crystals, like Folgers crystals. It depletes, and it grows on anything that's alive, or like moisture or like damp spaces. These crystals form, and if you crush the crystals into a powder, like you can sprinkle it onto the eyes of a corpse to like cast Speak with Dead. Or you can make a magic circle out of the powder to be able to empower undead rituals or darkness rituals, which is canon with a big K, according to how the Eberron campaign works. Like, that's what Mabar crystals are valuable for. But this campaign's about literally manufacturing and farming that environment to produce more of it. And the side effect is undead creatures rising to attack. And the necromancers knew that there were undead in the region, because it used to be a military facility that got shut down because the experiments got so dangerous that it started board wiping the people that were there. So they had to shut the operation down. But during the last war, necromancers were literally military intelligence and the generals of the armies. So the Solzu, the Emerald Claw cultists in this adventure, he was military intelligence, so he knows literally where all the bodies are buried. So, and he knew about this facility that was being used for necromantic experiments way back in the day. And so basically, after he got forcibly retired, he took what he had learned. He basically stockpiled the information that he had and gathered the things that he needed and fired up operations again under the bankroll of the 12, which is like a bunch of archmage supervillains that rule from the shadow. They basically fund different types of operations and provide resources to upcoming terrorists to develop things that they could exploit for their own gain. And when they had a necromancer say, "Hey, I know how to fire up a manifest zone to Mabar, and if you fund me to do it, I will fire up that operation, and I will start harvesting Mabaric crystals and all the other exotic material that gets created in that place for you guys to be able to use." He was trying to use that as a bargaining chip to get into the circle of the 12. And then over the course of the adventure, you'll find out like things totally went sideways. They overestimated their abilities. They got in over their head. And one of the optional encounters, there's 6 different plot hooks in the adventure, and one of the optional encounters is you're hired by the 12 as a wet work team to go in and assassinate all of them. Get them out of the way, because they want to send in replacements to take control of the operation properly without all this zealotry getting in the way. So you're hired to clear them out. And along the way you find out, well, yeah, they're sacrificing people. And then your big moral quandary in the adventure is like, are we okay with following our orders and sacrifice and letting people get sacrificed for this? Or do we need to turn on our employer and protect these people instead? So that becomes your moral quandary if that's your adventure. So there's, like I said, there's 6 different plot hooks that approach the morality and the information that you have available to your characters changes with each of them. So pretty fun. Sorry, that's my next rant. What's up? Biggest pet peeve as artists is something going, "Oh, you're natural." Oh my, yeah. It's people that say that have never developed any skills because they don't understand what sweat and effort means. For someone to say, "Oh man, you're so talented," it's like you have obviously never achieved anything worth achieving in your life. Sorry if that insults anyone out there, but if you're even an athlete would never say, "Oh, you're talented," because an athlete knows how much work it goes through to become quote unquote talented. If you have a talent, if there is a talent related with acquiring skill, it's that you're too dumb to understand that this is difficult, so you just keep trying, right? I think that's like I am more compelled to push through the pain of figuring something out than me getting bored with it, because it won't let me go. It's not that I even have a choice about these pieces. It's like sometimes I literally cannot sleep until I put time on the easel. Like, no, you can't go to bed yet. It's like, fuck, I'm tired. And the muse is like, nope, it's time to grind. I'm like, shit, okay. Let's see what we can get done. And then I'll grind. And you know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like, fuck, I got to get up in 5 hours and stream. And the muse is like, okay, well, you've satisfied me, so I'm going to give you heavy sleep, and you can get back up and do it again. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Yeah, there is no, maybe there's talent, but I don't think there's physical aptitude. I think all that quote unquote idea of talent is your ability to regulate yourself and discipline. And even discipline is something that you have to build endurance for. The human, I love it. I've listened to all sorts of different types of YouTube streams, especially while I'm painting or doing stuff off stream. But one of the things that I don't remember what it was I was listening to, but it was talking about the Aborigines and Brazilian tribes that still exist. That they're just these humans that exist in these early stage cultures are machines. Their bodies are like literally machines. They can run all day. They like in Brazil, their toes, like they can splay their toes like this because they spend their entire life grabbing hold of branches that they're running on in trees. It's like they build their bodies through effort to do what they need their body to do. And we don't have to worry about that in our cultures anymore, these civilized cultures. But what we do need is to build emotional and mental discipline, and we can develop those just as strongly as natural living creatures can do with their bodies. It's pretty amazing, really. Whatever you stress your life condition to do, your body becomes more capable of achieving. Whether it's through a bad thing like an addiction, or it's something like weightlifting, your body naturally adapts to whatever sort of punishment you put it through to be able to perform that punishment better, which is the whole idea of gaining resistance to drugs when you're an addict. You gain that resistance because your body becomes better at processing the chemicals, and your emotional state is better at absorbing the highs that are created from those chemical rushes. It's pretty fascinating, honestly. But once you learn how to crack, it's a code you can crack. It's an exploit. I think your body already knows how to, yeah, right, on how to do what it do. I just have to realize that and then teach my brain to do it. Right, yeah. Hey, Def. Yeah, truly. A lot of it goes hand in hand. Like a sports ball athlete that throw a ball good, you have to be able to not only have mechanics to be able to propel the ball the distance that you need, but you also have to have the eye-hand coordination to be able to stick it to the point, like to be able to pinpoint where you're going to land your shot, right? Snipers are the same way. I think bow marksman, like Olympic archery, is an excellent example of that as well, of having that alignment in your body. And art's no different. It's just teaching it to do what you do. I need to up the strength on that smudge brush there to be able to push through these pixels a little bit better. And I've been ranting a lot, so I'm obviously not going to get this skeleton done today. But again, it's a process. I'm obviously, after 2 years, I'm obviously not in a race. I will say writing adventures is by far the most difficult task I've ever done. It coordinates more, like if it's just like character options, you just basically, it's just an alphabetical list in two columns, make it look good. Make sure your ideas are smart, and then you're pretty much good to go. Like there's not a lot of effort that goes into just doing layouts for character options, right? It's pretty brain dead. Cartography and the illustrations and the text all fitting inside of a finite space, so they're self-referential at a glance. Man, that is a challenge, and I don't think I would have been able to take it. I think I had to take the amount of time this is taking for me to be able to actually acquire the skills needed to do it. I would not have been able to do this 2 or 3 years ago. I think all the BS that I've been doing in the meantime, it really built me to be able to do it properly. There, that. Anyway, More rants. When you're playing guitar, I like to, if I brain out of it and I can just auto play it, yep, exactly. Your body knows what to do because you've trained it, because you've taught it what it needs to do, and then you just can trust it. And I don't have kids, but I understand this is a parenting thing, that you gotta do your best to make sure the kids understand what the hell is going on, and then you just gotta let them do it. You just gotta let go and just let them do. And they're either gonna fuck up or they're not. And you have to trust that you did everything that you were supposed to do to get them to a place where they can do what they want to do. In very much the sense, we are our own parent. We are our own. I am my own father. My heart is my own mother. I'm pretty convinced. And I don't have any evidence about this, but my gut tells me that men have the soul of women, and women have the soul of men. And that you flip flop those things to have that unity, and so like they say that men are like, women are framed as being romantic, but it's the men that are really the romantics. They're the ones that do all the, like, under the natural order. If you're subscribed to the idea of natural orders, it's the men that try to attract the women, right? Women want to be attracted, but the idea of romance is perceived in general as like a feminine thing, but it's the men's heart that are compelled to do that. It's interesting. Oh crap, I'm talking about gender stuff. Never mind. I have no idea how I spilled in that space. That's an interesting point, though. Not to try to push the barrier a little bit, but we're in a timeline right now where being true to your heart is becoming more and more important for you to retain sovereignty over yourself. I think there might be some credence to my what is it? My thesis, my hypothesis. Thank you. That's the proper word. About the soul versus body, because we have so many people that are coming out as, my body is not my gender. This is what my heart is, and it's always, you don't hear a guy in his body say, my truth is that I am male. This is what I feel, and I have to express that I'm a man. It's always, the way that I look is not how I feel. My soul is as a opposite gender of what they are. So I need to make my body become that thing, because I don't feel I'm true until my outward appearance is matching what I feel like I am inside. And I don't think our culture in particular, I don't know of any culture in particular that explores this idea of, no, we're supposed to have the opposite orientation inside of us, because it compels us to interact with the outward thing that we're attracted to. If you want to play in that space. I like girls. It makes sense that my heart would be girl, because my heart plays to the thing that I want to interact with. And I think we're seeing a lot of cultural conversation that's kind of resonating around being true to yourself and not forcing other people to have to comply with what your belief systems are. And it's often taken from the perspective of, the way that culture is set up, and I have a countercultural opinion about myself, and I have to fight to have my feelings be heard about this and be treated as an equal. It's pushed so far in Western culture to this point that now the pendulum swing back is, yeah, we understand that what you look like is not how you feel, but you have to respect that the way that I look is literally what I am. You have to take me at my face value. So now we're getting into a space where you have to be able to adapt to listen to the wishes of other people, while recognizing that doesn't even apply to you at all. It's, I can empathize with you without having to agree with you. And that's the important piece that I think our culture is getting to at this point, where it's like we've seen enough push that all opinions are valid. And now we're getting to a point where I can discern, although all opinions may be valid, this set of opinions don't jive with what I do. So while I can respect that you have it, I do not have to comply with it. And so like forced compliance has been a sort of negative backlash feeling towards people trying to have their truth be told because you can't see their truth. Now we're getting to a place where you have to accept that what you see is what you get, and you're not going to get anything else out of it because I'm already playing who I am to the hilt. And I think as more and more people get familiar and comfortable with truly being how they think that they're supposed to be, they can relax and let people not care or to disagree with you without taking it personally. It's like, just to understand, it's like, you're not hurting me. You don't have to agree with me. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing's hurting anyone. Anyway, that's my counterculture statement for the day. Enjoy. When I've been doing my pixel art, I'm purposely choosing references that challenge me. Dude, your Willy Wonka art that you did yesterday was freaking smack, dude. Your pixel art is ridiculously good. If you guys have not seen Defected Gaming, it's on my Discord. He posts there a lot. But your pixel art is fucking high quality shit, dude. High quality. Ego culture. Yeah. Did I miss anything? No. I'm up to speed. And I'm damn near out of time, too. I'm like down to 5 minutes. Definitely not getting done today. The amount of rant that I had going on is... the rant is real today. Watch out. Dude, it says you earn the compliments you get. Anyone that can't accept a compliment doesn't recognize how much of an impression you're making on other people. And it's humbling when you get compliments and you don't expect them, or if they're more enthusiastic than you expect. It can be off-putting, but that's normally just you not believing in yourself. That's what it was. Not being able to accept a compliment is the strongest sign of imposter syndrome you can have. If you can't accept a compliment, check your shit. Because it means that you're fighting yourself. You're not only trying to develop your skill, but you're also trying to deny yourself that you've developed those skills. It's a brain lock, and it's going to shut you down. Not that anyone here in particular has that. I'm just talking to the guy who's never been here before, and this is the first thing he ever hears me say. Cheers. There, let's get those teefies in. Yeah, I don't think I did my due diligence on this guy. It's starting a lot rougher. I'm having to do a lot more detail and structural work on the fly. Sometimes I'm good about making sure that I get all the structural details and like the line art good. Like this is proving a point that if I don't start off with good line art, then the coloring process takes longer, because you can see me, I'm like doing corrections on the line art as we're going along here, where I should just be focusing on filling in color and blending. But this particular skeleton would not allow me to do it. So, I mean, it's turning out okay. I certainly have no complaint about it, but I'm noticing the difference. Like this one is like is taking a lot more concentration and focus than like what this dude did. Like this dude, we just crackerjacked out. It was no problem. This one, I also had some brain lock on for a while. I love doing dead. I love the undead. I love the morbidity of it. It's so fun. It's so fun. I need to bring this whole structure down like that. And that gives me more room for guts. Blah, 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 blah. I'll be back. My throat's a little chalky from all this ranting, but it's a good indication that I have at least enough endurance to be able to hold a good conversation. So I will definitely be back on stream later on today to work on the Ranger and the Paladin for the martial power system. We just got the 4th level in our playtest. I'm thrilled. So I might be spending some time this weekend during the brunch stream to do character updates. We have a stack of characters that participants have made. And then, you know, people's schedules change. So we've had people drop in for a few sessions, make a character, and then drop out. But the character is still in the roster of characters that you can queue up. So, like, if somebody drops in, it's like, yeah, give me a character. You can just drop in, and, hey, here's a character. Like, this structure, this hip bone here is just fucked up. I got to fix that. There's way too much lump going on down here. This all needs to be pulled up in here like that. I'm losing the sword and the effect, but we'll get it back. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that sword melt away right now while we build this hip back in. Yeah, that is off. But it's also it's also conveniently covered by the neighbor zombie, so I don't technically need to worry about it too much. But I at least want to worry about it some. We all know it's back here, so I should at least make it decent, right? So let's add that thigh bone in the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, we'll redo the sword. We're going to drop that in the way it's supposed to be. Like that. And then that hip bone goes there, so we can pull that and bring it down here. There we go. You can bring that forward. And we got more room for gutses. I really like having a lot of gut inside the central, inside the around the core. But I also feel like I can pull this up like that. There we go. That feels better. And we can take all of this. No. I'm getting pinged. Oh yeah, it's 7:59. That's what my alarm is telling me. It's time for me to boot scoot. So okay, we're gonna go ahead and have to pause this guy. That sword's so heavy it's pulling him forward. I'm okay with that. But yeah, I gotta bounce. Yeah, oh my god, yeah, it's so easy. I can just cheat stuff around. Should have missed win. Drawing on paper. Oh man, yeah. No Control Z. Flip your eraser and Control Z for like a minute. Scratch through your paper. All right, guys, I gotta bounce out of here. I'm gonna continue with this tomorrow morning. You're all welcome to tag in whenever you want. There's no obligations ever. I just appreciate folks showing up and letting me shoot the shit with y'all. I'll be back at lunchtime today to continue with the martial power system. And yeesh, yeah, this guy's a little. I feel like he's a little too off kilter. Let's correct that posture just a bit. We'll feed everyone back in just to see how things are sitting. Yeah, we can slide that forward a bit and bump. Bump. Ba, 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 da, da, da. There, yeah, I can push him back a little bit. That actually feels pretty good. Yeah, that feels really natural. I like that. Okay, cool. So, Mischief managed. We'll be back tomorrow to more of this. We'll be back in about 5.5 hours, I reckon, to continue with the martial power system. Thanks a lot, guys. I love hanging out with y'all. Thank you, and I'll see you on the other. Cheers.